Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
You are a cunt. You are a cunt. Nobody likes you 'cause you are a cunt.
You're no different a coward than you were 4 days ago. So that should be your thing on your cell phone. What do you call it? Ringtone. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. That's your ringtone. And when you're in a meeting, you'll never forget to turn your phone off again in a meeting, ever. You'll never forget again. I guarantee it. I mean, but people are so used to. You saw an alpha male last night, Steve. But people are so used to being mealy-mouthed now that it's become the norm. And i.e., they call it political correctness. And one of you, I told, in addition, part and parcel of, in my judgment, the worst part of political correctness is called tacit approval. Tacit approval. Tacit approval is, we're at a meeting, and everybody has a presentation, and you know that most of what you're listening to during the presentation is horseshit. You don't say, hey, we already know that's bullshit, let's move on. When was the last time you saw anybody do that? Never. I used to do it since, I got in a lot of trouble, since I'm in grade school. I mean, I was always flapping my mouth. And I had ADHD, but they just said that I was goofy. They didn't know what ADHD was 70 years ago or 65 years ago. But tacit approval is, so now we're in a meeting and I'm talking bullshit, and I'm talking bullshit, but then I leave, and then so then and you all listening, and he nods his head. Not because he agrees, he nods his head. Then I leave, and so then the story that you pass on to him is how you hear it, and because we all hear different things, right? At a scene of an accident, 25 people got 25 different opinions of what the hell happened. But now you go on to another meeting, and because I didn't correct one of these two guys, you go on to another meeting and say, the old man agreed with it because I didn't disagree with it. And what we've learned, unfortunately, in life and in business is not agreeing isn't agreeing. Not agreeing is tacit approval. You're just keeping your fucking mouth shut because you don't want to be confrontational. And it goes from worse to worse to worse. And by the time it gets down to the poor janitor or whoever's at the bottom of the food chain, he doesn't really know what the company's mission is or vision or whatever. But whereas when you heard a guy like Steve Ballmer last night, former CEO of Microsoft, there's no tacit approval in him. And there's no tacit approval in any of the icons that you've seen in the night movies. In fact, they're the opposite of tacit approval. They often stick their nose into stuff that they had turned over to other people to manage, to produce, to get to the market, and yet they come in and Jobs was famous for this, although Jobs, Steve, rightfully so, had visionary blessings that most normal people don't. And but we're putting together a montage of photographs, and I was just looking at them. They haven't been hung yet, so I was just looking at them, and I picked these two out because not necessarily because they're my favorites, but that is me in the hood as a little boy. Okay, I think I'm about 5. And that's my grandmother's house, that old ramshackle house I'm standing in front of. I'm standing on the steps. This is a quantum leap. That's the first $20 million I pulled out and put in my pocket in 1985. $20 million, not a big deal, really. 1985. Yeah, but that, see, nobody believes that I was here. They all think I was born in the fucking castle. And it's certainly not too late for any of you in this room, even the oldest one in the room, which isn't that old. I still think he's young because I'm almost 10 years older than he is. But everything's relative. We talk about age, and I'm sure his perspective about age and some of the bullshit he's hearing from you kids, he's just saying, fucking, what are these kids living in a dream world? I mean, they don't have a fucking clue, which is true. And with age, you get perspective. What are some of the comments about Steve?
Great speaker. Alpha male.
No question about that, alpha male.
Energetic, positive, enthusiastic.
He's a salesman.
You need a trick
Yeah.
to make it successful.
Yeah.
If you
And he didn't know fuck all about what they were doing.
Yeah.
He couldn't do a line of code.
But all you want to know about bedpans, all you want to know about cybersecurity, all you want to, for those of you that want to go into those areas, all you want to know about artificial intelligence. You don't even have to spell artificial, just it's AI, that's it. Yeah, forget about it. What else about Mr. Balmer? Yes, sir.
You said optimism is key for success.
Well, I would say optimism and enthusiasm. In fact, you don't just enthusiasm. You can roll over a million speed bumps just being enthusiastic. I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt.
Fire, promote, and fire is tough decisions.
Yeah, I still don't like firing people. I'm very good at it now because I've done it so many times. But when it gets easy for you to fire, you ought to retire. It should never be easy because you're disrupting lives. Mortgages, kids can't go to school, all that shit. But if you think about all that shit, you'll never make a decision. There's going to be collateral damage. But the collateral damage isn't life and death. As I told you, Fred Smith said many years ago, when I discovered that my mistakes weren't sending boys home in body bags from Vietnam. I never had a hard decision. But there's never an easy time to make a tough decision. Never. It's not going to get any easier, a month from now, a week from now. It's not the employees that you fire that kill your business, it's the employees you don't fire that kill your business. And I was just reading through I've got about 12 or 14 kids that are right at the goal line now. They're trying to, they're all lining up and they're trying to punch it through. And if you can't punch it through, you got 3 or 4 downs in American football. If you can't punch it down the first 3 fucking times, then they want to punt. Or they want to kick a field goal. You're on the 1-inch line, assholes. No fucking field goal in this game. You're either going to punch it through or you're not going to score. But the board's telling them it's better that we get a little pussy than no pussy. That's what every single board that was ever will tell you that. Well, let's negotiate.
One trick pony, Mr. Peña?
Yeah. Well, these guys have no trick pony. These 12 or 13 U's, this is their first trick, But the boards are telling them because they've been stalled at the goal line, 1 foot line, whatever. And but now the boards don't want to go away with nothing. So they're telling the kids, let's negotiate. We can do this. We can do. At least we'll get a little bit of gold. We're not going to get what we want. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, you take it wrongfully. You spent 7 weeks, 7 months, 7 years, and you're down and you got nothing. And you got 1 more down to punch it in. Oh, fuck. Well, they've stopped us 3 fucking times. Fuck. What are we going to do different the 4th time to get it through? And the board is all, the board wanted to negotiate when you got down there. Forget trying to punch it into the goal line 3 times. And then you got what is called a conundrum. A conundrum is a fucking dilemma. What are you going to do? Take the chance of walking away with fuck all nothing? Knowing that the board will probably leave you then.
Call Dan.
Pardon?
Call you.
No, don't call me. I don't want to hear you. I'm not interested. I'm telling you that now. Don't fucking call me. You're going to live and die on your board. That's it. And some of you that are more experienced in the room have been led to believe that you can probably choose talent better than maybe the kids. But I'd rather be lucky than smart. I'd rather have the luck of a kid Because if you were so fucking smart, you wouldn't be here. So how good have your decisions been? Down there, and you're getting ready, assuming you're the quarterback, and you're looking at all these fucking guys, just like that guy I told you about, Harry Wells, that All-American black fullback, weighed 265 pounds, that ran over me. Fuck. What am I going to do? Am I going to call an audible? What am I going to do? And shit's running down your leg because you've shit yourself. And the other side can smell. They don't smell the fear. They smell the shit rolling down your leg. And they all got teeth like fucking vampires. Fuck. You call timeout, timeout, timeout. Go back to the huddle. We got to negotiate with these fuckers. And that's what happens, guys. God, and it breaks my fucking heart. Most of the guys aren't going to score. Get the deal done the way they want it done. And your board will convince you, based on your fear, that discretion is a better part of valor, better to, be able to fight another day, which is wrong. Steve wouldn't do that. What else about Steve?
Must have a big vision and a big idea, and that also helps with recruiting talent.
Correct. The people that do the recruitment normally in big companies are human resource people, which are all wusses. Now, why would you want a human resource wuss vagina recruiting your talent for the future? I don't understand. What you want is, somebody that has come up the ladder and been successful, and telling them how the vision was then when he or she joined the organization, and how the vision has even been expanded since they've joined the organization. What else about Mr. Ballmer? Yes, sir.
Success is not a destination. Once you get there, you have to keep going.
Correct. And I said, I think the first day, whoever said it's hard to get to the top, but it's even harder to stay on top. Or whoever said that, I don't know who said it, but it's fucking right. And I think he commented that he was nervous because, he knew this was going to be on YouTube forever. And that's the problem. And he didn't say one bad word in his face. We're going to see some stuff that he's done while he was CEO of Microsoft. Like Elon Musk, his favorite word is fuck. And his favorite two words are fuck you. They say, Elon, and Elon, if you hear this and I'm wrong, correct me. Every fourth word is fuck from Elon Musk. When he's being kinder, gentler, every fifth or sixth word is fuck instead. Yet most in this room wouldn't say shit if it was in your mouth. Just go, oh, it's a poo in my mouth. Okay, what else about Steve? Yes, sir.
You need to find something that can consume you, and you can give all your heart, spirit, soul, and dedicate yourself 100%.
Passionate. But as far as I can tell from the history books, that, Steve Ballmer's been passionate about everything all his life. That's the way he is. He's a big, aggressive, enthusiastic, passionate man. And he exudes enthusiasm. He exudes passion, and the people that reported to him were of like mind, or they didn't stay there.
He's also very tough-minded. He's not like enthusiastically pleasing. He's tough-minded.
No, all these guys are tough. The alpha males sound tougher only because they're alpha males that got big mouths.
All in.
Yeah, they're all in. But the betas that we've studied so far are still tough. But they're not, boisterous. And some of the icons that we've studied so far are, they're all confrontational, but some are confrontational because they'll have you go be confrontational because they don't want to be confrontational because they're introverts. Remember I said Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Mr. Buffett are introverts. Hard to believe. Just like you, little wussy introvert. But they're animals vis-a-vis their passion. Even a mouse will fight back in the corner. What else about it? Yes, ma'am.
The best advice he ever got from his dad was, when you do a job, do a job. When you don't do a job, don't do a job.
I can only imagine what advice your dads gave you.
Do it with pride is what she means, right?
Yeah.
No, do it 100%.
Well, I'm 100%. You're all in, as you said earlier. And you'll be able to tell when you do your first report. You're going to be able to tell about 15 or 20 questions into the report. You're going to know if you were all in that week. And hardly anybody is all in week one. But you know who's in week one all in? The kids. The 15, 16, 19-year-olds. They're fucking all in. They're going for the stratosphere. They're swinging away. I mean, they're trying to put every fucking pitch, like Babe Ruth did, pointing at center field. I believe it was in Wrigley Field. What else?
He spoke a lot about measuring. So what gets measured?
What gets measured gets accomplished. I told you that, when I go in and I'm involved in sales and marketing with an organization, I want to know how many sales we made. I get in at 8 o'clock in the morning. How many sales have we made today? 8 o'clock in the morning. Not last. Last week's fucking last week. I mean today, since midnight. And I told you want your employees, you want to get rid of employees, just have them follow a similar format that I'm going to give you. They'll just pick up their shit and put it in the bag and they'll be out the fucking door. And the ones that will leave will be the ones that you don't think will leave. Because they bullshitted you into you thinking they were productive all these years. And they're not, and they know they're not. But they've been riding that wave. Very few employees can get up, paddle out, and catch another wave. They caught you. Big fucking hippo that you are. They caught you. And they've been riding on your wake. The wake, the fucking water that you spew off. They've been riding your wake. What else about Steve?
Optimism.
Yes, pardon?
Optimism. Smart people like to be negative.
What?
Yeah, other smart people like to poke holes in your deal. But don't confuse me with the facts is my favorite for me. I'm not interested in it. We're doing it this way. I don't give a fuck, about your PhD from MIT. I don't give a fuck. We're doing it this way.
You said that you have to love what you do.
Now, this is a recurring theme, right? Success leaves clues. And all these guys that you'll ever study, not the guys you've been studying, but all these guys that are icons of on the planet that really changed the world are 95% the same. 95% the same. In the cosmos of time, even Bill Gates, Einstein, Tesla, Henry Ford aren't a fart in the wind. In the cosmos of time, of the 13.8 billion years we've been here. So if those guys that I just mentioned aren't a fart in the wind, what are the role models that you were raised by? What are they? Obviously less than a fart in the wind. And that's why I say, with no qualifications or reservations, not everybody deserves to be born. Not everybody deserves to be alive. If we just put the benchmark, you had to add value to the planet, we'd have about 50,000 people instead of 7.6 billion that added value. And added value is creating wealth is adding value because you're creating jobs. You're allowing people to, to do more than they would have done on their own. Anything else about
If you fail forward.
Well, I mean, yeah, these are all like Woody Hayes tackled the guy from Vanderbilt, and he knew when he threw his clipboard down and he took his headset off, and he knew his career was over. But there are some things worth fucking being fired over. There's some things that are worth dying over. That was the end of one of the most successful athletic coaching careers in the history of the planet. He took the headset off. Fuck this! I can't allow that cocksucker from Vanderbilt to score. Nobody ever gave him a fucking job again. He died broke. Yep.
What brought you here won't bring you there?
Correct. That's absolutely correct. And that's a valid point for another reason. What brought you into this room, unless you pull the trigger, won't get you there. Hall of Fame. So you muscled up, or you what courage you had, and you dusted yourself off, and you saved your pennies or whatever, how to get here. But this is just the first step. Just as almost everybody that you've heard so far says, getting the board's the easy part. Getting here is the easy part. Then getting the board is the second easiest part. And if you don't use the steps and you don't pull the trigger, you should have saved your money. But I also say, for many people, including the YouTubers, better that you find out at 26 or 46, this ain't for you. I want to make a lot of fucking money, and various, you almost said it verbatim to that. I want to make a lot of fucking money, I'm trying to give the accent, but wanting to make a lot of fucking money and making a lot of fucking money are two different places. This is wishing and hoping. My mother was a prayer. She used to pray that I didn't kill myself and wish and hope. Wishing and hoping and praying are at my mother's end of the continuum, which doesn't do dick, okay? At the other end of the continuum, my dad beat me as soon as he found out I did something bad, and I remembered the beatings more than I did the prayers from my mother. Because I had lumps, and in those days you went to school, I come to school with a big fucking bruise on my head. Now they say I fell down the stairs or some shit. Well, everybody knew that my dad popped me. We had no stairs in our house anyway, except, there were two steps, as I recall, down here, and my dad threw me out of that door before a couple times when I was at my grandmother's house. What else about Steve? Yes, sir.
High self-esteem people use humor to connect with people.
Now, when he laughs, it's not a coping mechanism. When people like Trump laugh, it's not a coping mechanism. When I laugh, it's not a coping mechanism. When I laugh, I'm trying to, inadvertently, unconsciously, I'm trying to relax you. I'm trying to relax you, so I laugh, and then you laugh and you smile, and so then we build some rapport, and we move forward. But Steve Ballmer was one of the, not the only alpha male CEOs in the last 25 years, but he certainly was one of the most successful CEOs in the last 25 years. Yeah.
Define very clearly what success looks like.
Well, now, getting your willy wet the first time, doing a deal. And there's 4 or 5 of you that attempted to implement the QLA model before you got here, but your execution was less than good, and your results were less than good. Because you didn't understand, even though you read the material, etc., you didn't understand why step 3 was after step 1. You didn't understand why step 4 was after step 2. And that it's a building block process. And for those of you in this particular group, not just this group, but almost every group, there's no real polished communicator. Once in a while we get a really polished communicator. And I would take a polished communicator over knowledge, subject matter, 100 times out of 100. Subject matter is overrated. It's just overrated. And Mr. Ballmer said he didn't know shit. He didn't say it that way, but he didn't know shit about what they were doing. And nobody still to this day believes that I didn't know shit about. Well, now, I didn't know shit about what I was doing, the big healthcare deals either. Now, I'm burdened with fucking information and history, and I know what works and what doesn't work. And I haven't done a real big healthcare deal since then. When I didn't know dick, we did the biggest healthcare deal in the history of Europe. Now I'm a fucking expert. I haven't done a big deal like that in 10 years. Because I know, fuck, I know where that can go wrong. Fuck, I know how that can go wrong. Oh, fuck. Well, you know, back then I just run towards a gunfire and kill everybody was my methodology. Run toward the bullets and kill everybody. Now he's probably got grandkids and I'm telling you, I'm a softer, gentler than I used to be. Anything else about Steve? Yes, sir.
Mr. Ballmer's leadership style was involving. He was involved in the process. He would ask the same question to multiple employees to get a pulse and get different responses and answers.
Correct. We've got a guy right now in Southern California doing due diligence, walking on the property, kicking the tires, the last part of the due diligence. And he's still within the mentor program. He's done it within the time frame, and it'll be interesting to see how. And he's bringing a bunch of his board because he doesn't really know what he's looking at. You know, if they give him in this particular case, because he's a wino, if they give him a couple of drinks, he'll forget about what he's there for, literally. So he's bringing 4 of his board members. Yeah.
In order to lead, you have to like everything in your company.
No, I don't agree. If that's what he said, I don't agree with that. No, what you have to like, and not like, you have to be obsessed with is the vision. Because there's going to be a lot of details within the company that you don't like. Everybody that's, right now, most of you that have employees, there's no employee that you hate. Well, I've never had an employee I didn't like. If I don't like them, I throw them out. Because I don't like them based on results. Not because of their wife or their mother-in-law or their political party or their skin color. It's just they didn't produce. Talk's cheap.
He said not to shy away from things.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's never an easy time to make a hard decision. The biggest, and some of you have already thought about it. How am I going to fire? And you've heard all these people firing people. How am I going to fire a 65-year-old former president of AT&T?
You retire her.
Well, I mean, but that's easy to say. And that's why you're going to want to send her an an email. We've had guys go to sit down to fire the guy, and the meeting lasts about 90 seconds. And sometimes the guys say, well, I understand, I'm not right for the situation for you. And have some that stand up, who the fuck are you kidding, kid? You're going to fail. I was here as a mercy fuck, you little prick. Yes, just those words. And then you're just shattered.
He called it a one-trick pony, meaning you did something great, but if you don't do something continuous, you're just going to die and fade away.
Well, I mean, all the icons want to be more than a one-trick pony. Now, Henry Ford, in a lot of respects, is considered the real Henry Ford, the first guy. It was considered a one-trick pony because of the affordable automobile. But the conveyor belt, the assembly line was his idea, amongst other things. So, I mean, he had several tricks that he performed. But they want to be more than a one-trick pony. I just want you to be a one willy in somebody's ass. That's it. I'm not hoping that you did it. One time you'll taste success. And then, I won't have to beat on you. I won't have to have my foot on your neck, one foot on your neck and one foot up your ass once you taste that success. But so I want you to get your dick wet, as quick as humanly possible. And then, you'll do,
Steve Ballmer believed in the speed of success.
Pardon?
Steve Ballmer also believed in the speed of success.
Yeah, this is not slow motion. This is not slow motion. And the guys up there, and the guys that don't allow me to use their picture up there, the ones that have made the most money made it the quickest. The quickest. The fastest.
Don't underestimate
The power of luck.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd rather be lucky than smart. I mean, and when luck looks you in the face, like it did you, and your brother, and that was a wonderful experience. And I don't have to tell you what it felt like. You still remember what it felt like. And in that regard, I'm stealing something from this afternoon. When you hit those speed bumps and you start to feel sorry for yourself, and guys like Balmer and myself don't feel sorry for themselves, these guys, I will tell, relate back to that experience and how that felt. Okay? And you want to replicate that feeling again and again and again and again. Because they've been in the eye of the tiger before. And once you're in the eye of the tiger, I mean, life is different. Life is just different. And the experience that your board members bring, because if you choose them right, like the ex-president of the country, like Danielle chose, is that they will have been in the eye of the tiger. They know what it feels like to, ride those 100-foot waves and not get fucked up. And, the biggest compliment any of your board members can give you is you remind me of me when I was a kid. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Yes, sir.
One thing, I'm not sure how related it is to business, but you said the cost of privacy and services is in services rendered. So, like, if you have like a Facebook account or Google, you're getting stuff for free from them, so that's your privacy you get. Well,
I mean, there's little or no privacy at the top. There's little or no privacy because people chase you around and they want your opinion, and we get calls here daily, people wanting to come to interview or come and take pictures of the seminar or the castle, and there is no privacy. But that's one of the sacrifices. That's one of the pay price to action, because super secret privacy costs a lot of money. I mean, you could be, and it costs a lot of money though. So you can't be super secretly private unless you've got a lot of money to spend, where you can travel anonymously. But that all costs money. But you have the money. You will have made the money. And for some people, they want to be the antisocial ones like myself. It's worth the pay price to action, even though it costs me money to be private. And the reason we moved here was because we were concerned about kidnapping of our children and all the stuff that I went through. I already explained a little bit about the last couple of days. And this place was easily defendable.
Like a castle.
Correct. It was easily defendable. And when the kids were growing up, we had a lot of security. You look at, I think it's my 40th birthday is online. My 40th birthday, there was fucking security all over the place, okay? My 50th birthday, which I believe is also online, a lot less security, because the party wasn't here. The party was at Glom's Castle, the Queen's home, the Queen's mother's home, excuse me. And then my 70th birthday that was here, we had a lot of security. We had private security. All the big guys in tuxedos were not my mentees. They were security guys. But anything else about Steve?
Ideas matter.
Pardon?
Ideas matter.
And when like I have frog cufflinks today, and I sometimes wear frog ties. And in my office, I have probably 150 frogs, and throughout the castle, we probably have 250 frogs of different varieties, because I never want to forget that a guy that I met someplace, and that's why I see people when I travel. They come in the hotel and they see me for 20 or 30 minutes. I see 4 or 5 people every city that I go to, because you never know where you're going to get another idea. And quite often when you become successful, super successful, you shun other people out of your life, and those are the people that are going to bring you the new ideas. It's not the 5 or 6 people that you've been doing business with for 5 or 10 or 15 years, okay? If you get one, not good idea, great idea per, a year, and even a great idea isn't going to come to fruition necessarily. It's going to make you money. But we become closed down because we start to believe our own headlines. I've been through this a couple of times, and so everybody's blowing smoke up your ass, telling you how smart you are, and you stop looking for the new opportunities. You stop looking. Now, in addition, you saw last night what?
Modern education.
Modern education. Well, we don't have to dwell on that. Okay. I'm not such a proponent of modern education. My education, spare the rod, spoil the child. Basically, is my methodology of educating people. Because unfortunately, fear works. Fear works. What was you saw one other thing?
No.
That was it?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else about Steve? Now today we're going to go through affirmations and goals. That'll be part of your homework tonight. And again, as several of you, I said, what are you supposed to ask me? Did you remember? Or,
of course.
Of course. Now that I reminded him, of course he remembers that.
I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so what are you going to remind me of?
To go into detail from beginning to end.
Okay, of a deal. Even though we do that tomorrow, he said, now maybe he's just bullshit. Maybe he's the only thick shit in here who didn't understand what I was saying.
I didn't.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, a second thick shit.
I asked you outside.
Okay, so I guess more than one thick shit didn't understand. So I'm going to go through one today. Okay, but I went back and looked at the slides this morning, and so far in the seminar, I've gone through 5 deals. But you must have been asleep. 5 deals. 2 that Anelli did, and 3 others. Remember the 31 million deal? And we went through you were asleep. I've gone through 5 deals. I'm going to go through another one today, or maybe more than one today.
Very detailed.
Okay, well, no, there's not. The Tony Robbins challenge, and no disrespect to Tony, the Tony Robbins challenge is there is no detail. See, you keep looking for detail that doesn't exist. Now, he's in a tough fucking business. I mean, his business, retail restaurants, has buried more budding entrepreneurs than I got gray hair and he's got gray hair in his head. He's been in successful 20-25 years, right?
Right.
Okay. He's in a tough fucking business, which I tell nobody to go into because it's too hard. It's too hard. But all the other businesses are easy peasy. And there are no details, remember, but I'll go through it in detail. But there's only 6, arguably 10 parts to a deal. 6, arguably 10. You'll make it 10, there's only 6. But there's really only 1.
Motivated seller.
Thank you. Okay, but we'll get to that. Okay, we'll get to that. Anything else about Steve? Yes, sir.
You said success is like a roller coaster?
Oh, amen. And if it's not a roller coaster, you're doing something wrong. See, you all want the smooth sailing like in the commercials when you're sitting back with the girls are with a good-looking guy and he's at the mast of his yacht and the wind's in the fucking spinnaker and that ain't it. That guy's probably poor and he's using his brother-in-law's yacht. I mean, this is it. 60-foot waves, knocking the spinnaker off, hanging on for dear. That's reality. That's reality. And when it gets too smooth, it means instead of increasing and growing at an increasing rate, you're growing at a decreasing rate, but you're still growing. And then pretty soon you're flattened out. And then the next step is you lose momentum. You've already really lost momentum, and then you roll over, and then you're in a decline. And when we were the fastest growing energy company on the planet for almost a decade, 10,000 energy companies went out of business. And I used to give Rolex watches for success on deals. Not to the guy, but the guy's wife or her significant other. I used to buy Rolex watches by the gross. And the girls would say, go out there and die for Great Western. Get up, honey. And I remember the first Rolex watch I bought in Houston. I bought, 12 or 14. The guy said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to give out to employees, mates." And, but it will not be a smooth ride. It will not be, yeah.
And he also says to be prepared Because it's not going to be a smooth ride, and most successes take 5 to 10 years anyways.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to take 5 to 10 years.
Longer than 15 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have. I told you about the guy yesterday, the Mexican kid, who started and exited in less than a year in an industry that he didn't know anything about, hairdressing and that kind of thing. He didn't know anything about it, and he was in and out. It doesn't have to take you that long. It doesn't. But what you fall in love with is ripping money out of the business. Because for most of you, you have never experienced that. Where there's really no limit to what you can buy. And normally the kids buy the wrong shit to begin with. I've been through the planes. I've been through the yacht. I've done all that. Now, I wasn't in my 20s when I did it. I was in my middle 30s. But I've done it. I know, the signs because I've walked in that shit myself. So I know. The happiest days of my life are the day I bought my yacht and the day I sold my yacht. Big boats, eat money. Eat. I'm not talking about just the fuel. Of course, this place eats money. We have 2 full-time fix-it guys, carpenters, plumbers, here all the time. Because something breaks. Every day something breaks here. Some days, on a good day, one thing breaks. On a bad day, 5 things break. 5 things break. Many years ago, during one of these 100-mile-an-hour tornado bullshit, tore part of the roof off. We had a waterfall in the main hall. A waterfall coming down over that staircase. And the kids were little and they're going, Daddy, look at the waterfall. We don't have to go to Disneyland. And then getting that fixed. Okay. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
He talked about dark days in Microsoft. I thought maybe he was referencing about the monopoly.
No. Well, because Microsoft wasn't super successful from the very beginning. And he was like the 11th or the 30th employee. I forget which number he was. Because, now you look at, there were dark days at General Motors. There were dark days at IBM. There were, very few big, huge companies that are considered iconic now didn't have dark days. But to have a dark day, now the challenge is to not have the dark. Now you think the dark days are in the beginning when you're struggling. No, I'm talking about after you're up and running and you're implementing and executing properly, and you're using the hub and spoke, and you've got 15, 20 offices, yada yada yada, and then we had a pharmaceutical guy. They outlawed a certain drug, and he's out of business. And in pharmaceuticals, they have between 10 and 15 backup products for every one product. So if they lose the FDA approval, et cetera, et cetera. For example, right now, cannabis is hot. I'm old enough to know that 5 or 10 years from now, they may outlaw it again, go back the other way, like prohibition. And then what about all the cannabis boys and girls? They're fucked. You can take that big plant you're building outside Toronto and shove it up your ass.
Like cigarettes.
Huh? Yeah, it's like the vapors. Or what, am I saying that right? Now they're on the ass of the vapors. That was God's gift 7, 8, 9 years ago. That was the cure-all. And now they say it gives you another kind of fucking poison in your system or some shit. So nothing's forever. In America, taxes. But when Donald Trump, God bless him, in his second term, does away with inheritance tax, which is death tax, I will kiss his big fat ass in front of the White House. And he can drop his drawers. Because guys like me, it means hundreds of millions, tens of billions. That means when I die, instead of 50% of my shit, and I've done a lot of estate planning, roughly 50% of my shit going to the government. Because normally you don't have enough cash, you got to sell off assets to pay the tax, normally, when you're really rich.
Or life insurance.
Okay, or a life insurance policy that you paid $82 jillion for, the whole life scam, like W. Clement Stone invented personal development, so his boys had another tool to sell whole life insurance. Right. But if he does, and that's why a lot of very wealthy people are backing him. They wouldn't normally back him because of the way he talks. Because when he does away with death tax, fuck. You have now the little mooches in this room. You don't have a fucking clue what that means. But to me, I will kiss his fat fucking ass in front of the White House.
Even for the small guy, it's a still.
Yeah, but I mean, but it will bring in hundreds of billions, supposedly trillions of dollars into the economies. Fuck! But the little guy, a union guy in Cleveland, who's making $13 an hour, fuck those white people. And he's black. I'm looking at a black. Fuck those white people. You know, we've been oppressed for 350 years, and it's just another act of oppression. Oh, by the way, they all had comments about you boxing. The only consistently positive comments we had were about the girls. And they should have let the girls thump the guys around. But I mean, they had a bunch of ugly shit to say. And that's the norm. But then one guy took him on, and then there's a thread. Well, you got such a big fucking mouth, and you're so tough. And so then they jumped on this guy, and he's going out. He says, "Well, why don't we meet in Edinburgh? You know, and we'll just see how fucking tough you are." And of course, then he's got nothing else to say. You know. Okay, YouTube. Thank you.